praise and glory to
Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, Wahakodash Rakah.
double honor to the apostles and the elders at the great millstone, the Wadi Halabashim Al Shah, Kahawakakodash, which is to say thank you for the Holy Spirit, or the Spirit Holy. Peace and blessings to the faithful elect, those slated to be saved from the destruction that's been declared, to come upon America, to the entire globe as well, but primarily here, and to all the wicked inhabitants hereof. Those slated to be saved also being declared in the scriptures in the Bible from the beginning, being none other than the Israelites, who today are being called so-called blacks, so-called black Hebrew Israelites, so-called African Americans, Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians, Hispanics, West Indians, Seminole Indians, and Afro people scattered abroad. The men of these people teaching the true doctrine of the Bible, and the men, women, and children of these people also who have turned back to their true heritage, the true doctrine of the Bible, the way of Yahweh Shemel Shah. Alright? So Shalom.
Shalom.
So pretty much, man, this is in wake of a series of this constantly being mentioned, from brothers, and by the Spirit. One of the elders was going into it earlier, and the elder Ramla, the elder apostle Ramla, and pretty much, the scriptures say that the Spirit speaking expressly, because you should see the title. It's going into the whole, pretty much us being defamed, slandered, made the filth of all days, as the scriptures say, man. But pretty much, is another part of prophecy. There's another part of things. It's another one of the pieces of things that will be heightened as we move forth in Jacob's trouble, which I believe we're in. It's just we waiting for the pinnacle. We're clearly in trouble. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing good about none of the things that's going on. Joe Biden just declared an airstrike on, I forget exactly where. We'll watch on that. Then you got this crap going on in the midst, which is nothing new. It's just a furtherance. Like I said, it's a furtherance of everything, man. All right. So since it's been mentioned again, we'll go ahead and touch on it. We done touched on this topic, a few times, plenty of times, and we're gonna see what we got. So we're gonna go ahead and go into this video that one of the Akim sent, and because I didn't even really watch the live that the elder apostle was going into. I was just listening, like chimed in, and then I connected two and two together. The Spirit just had me just watch it. Then it got pointed out like, look, this live. You know what I'm saying? So it was all about the Spirit. Then the brothers amongst us, brothers was already talking about it. Brother Nakwayat and the other brother got mentioned. So pretty much we're gonna go ahead and see what we got here. So like I said, this is a video going into some new legislation. So let's see. For those of you on your house shot will return, you can go to the fish hunt rest page. Fish hunt rest. It'll come up, and we're sharing our screen over here so you can see what we're viewing, what we're presenting. and this is, you know, some breaks in this thing, so we're gonna skim through them, and we're gonna jump to the point too. We're gonna let her kick it off as well.
With no fees or minimums on checking and savings accounts, banking with Capital One is like the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Kind of like...
I think I'll go with cardigan.
That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
So this is yesterday, Passover.
This opening, as I call this
So-called nigga woman up.
subcommittee to order, without objection, the chair is authorized to declare recesses of the subcommittee at any time. Just as an aside, technology will not defeat our work. We are gathered here, and I welcome everyone this afternoon to this afternoon's oversight hearing on the rise of domestic terrorism in America. Before we begin, I would like to remind members that we've established an email address and distribution list to circulate exhibits, motions, or other written materials that members may want to offer as part of our hearing. If you would like to submit materials, please send them to the email address that has been previously distributed to your offices. We will circulate the materials to members and staff as quickly as possible. I would also ask all members, both those in person and those attending remotely, to mute your microphones when you are not speaking. This will help prevent feedback and other technical issues. You may unmute yourself anytime you seek recognition. I would also remind all members that guidance from the Office of Attending Physician calls for all members to wear masks even when they are speaking. I will now recognize myself for an opening statement and emphasize the importance of this day. Over the course of the last 4 years, every corner of the United States has felt the impact of the rise of domestic terrorism. Communities of faith, peaceful protesters, and even the United
See, so she just said something. She said America's been facing a rise of terrorism, and faith. Let me run that back real quick.
Over the course of the last 4 years, every corner of the United States has felt the impact of rise
Who on the corners?
of domestic terrorism. Communities of faith.
See? A rise of domestic, on every corner of America has felt a rise of domestic terrorism, community faith.
Over the course of the last 4 years, every corner of the United States has felt the impact of rise of domestic terrorism. Communities of faith, peaceful protesters.
So they saying America's been suffering. Well, I keep missing that word, but she said peaceful protesters, and what before peaceful protesters? Faith, what? Let me get that.
And emphasized the importance of this day. Over the course of the last 4 years, every corner of the United States has felt the impact of rise of domestic terrorism. Communities of faith, peaceful protesters.
America's been faced with communities of faith. Ain't that many? Anywho.
And even the United States Congress itself have been attacked by domestic terrorists. The executive branch has an array of statutory authorities to prevent attacks and bring charges against domestic terrorists, including those that are white supremacists. It is abundantly clear, however, that despite pleas from Congress and the American people, these tools have not been fully utilized nor implemented effectively with the full force of law and all the available resources. We must focus on our federal government on the goal of eradicating those homegrown threats in communities across the country.
So they're saying anybody that falls under this criteria will be eradicated. Can we get the word eradicated, brother? Oh, sure. What does it mean to eradicate?
This is eradicate. It says destroy completely, put an end to.
So they want to put an end to and completely destroy anybody that falls under this criteria.
Domestic terrorists pose a clear and deadly threat to the well-being of all Americans.
So communities of faith has been put under domestic terrorists. That's basically what she just said. Which don't make no damn sense, but so be it.
Being of all people. These tools have not been fully utilized nor implemented effectively with the full force of law and all the available resources. We must focus on our federal government on the goal of eradicating those homegrown threats in communities across the country. Domestic terrorists pose a clear and deadly threat.
So domestic terrorists, in which was listed communities of faith and peaceful protesters, they impose a deadly threat according to the U.S. government, which is why the scriptures got written how Yahweh Shai gonna come with a new government on his shoulder. So this is clearly that opposing government, and opposing government to his government. And it's by the spirit that they just released the Black Messiah, Judas and the Black Messiah.
To the well-being of all Americans. During the
communities of faith and peaceful protesters
clear and deadly threat to the well-being of all Americans.
They pose a deadly threat to all of Americans. So either you know prophecy or you making up shit.
During the past 2 years, this committee has examined the federal response to domestic terrorists each time a horrific and tragic white supremacist attack has taken place. As just one sober example, in August of 2019, the shooting spree at a Walmart in El Paso, the home of our colleague, the Honorable Veronica Escobar, left 22 people dead and 24 more wounded.
What does that got to do with peaceful protesters and communities of faith? See how they trying to, you know what I'm saying?
Marking the third deadliest act of violence by domestic extremists in more than 50 years.
Act like this, everything she's trying to act like is all under one margin, and it's clearly not. You know what I'm saying? You outside of the margin that you introduced. Completely.
It's certainly troubling that the core of his hatred was based on language and ethnicity. It is so troubling that there have been so many shocking tragedies in recent years, from the deadly rampage at Pittsburgh's Tree of Life Synagogue, religion and immigration issues, to the 2012 white supremacist attack on the Sikh temple in Milwaukee. So sad that I have been on this committee through all of these horrific attacks, and to the brutal murder of 9 worshipers at the Emmanuel.
Because you, wouldn't those be communities of faith? No. So you saying everybody outside of the church building, that's showing behind those walls that the Lord say he don't dwell in. But somehow corners in America is mentioned, you know what I'm saying? Either. She was saying that, look,
Precious soul.
because remember, she's talking about who? peaceful protesters? Are they not on corners?
Was a
In
powerful
communities of
statement.
faith, is there not a church on every corner? Are there not evangelists on every corner?
That we would not tolerate that violence. It was taken to another level. President Barack Obama sang the song, Amazing Grace. For all of those
The Lord gonna kill the so-called black woman. All you sell out coonettes, the Lord's gonna destroy you. So keep playing that, Miss Jackson Lee.
wanted
With that damn slave name.
about the
And you ain't
nature
supposed to be up there running your mouth any dang way.
of this threat or make false comparison, take a moment to pause and reflect on that statistic. Over the last 10 years, 75% of all murders have resulting from domestic terrorism have been the result of right-wing
And
extremism.
real quick, sis, before they try to use this against us, let's get a scripture. Let's prove that in the scriptures you ain't supposed to be running your damn mouth. Let's get in your mouth is definitely matter of fact, also let's get this first. Let's get 1 Timothy 2:10. Matter of fact, 1 Timothy 1 Corinthians 4:33. And we're gonna speak as we go, just so this ain't that long. Trying to collect thoughts and, hit things as we go.
You see that 1 Corinthians?
Yep, 14, and let me see that. 33.
It's not.
Start at 34.
Come on. This 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 34.
You start at 33.
1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 33. For the Most High is not the author of confusion, but of peace, as in all churches of the saints.
See, so the Lord is not of the author, he's not the author of confusion, according to this word. Now, what follows up after this statement? Come on.
At Salah, it says, let your women keep silence in the churches.
Thus, obviously, that's in the same margin. See?
God.
So you're supposed to be keeping quiet in the churches. See, this is why, she's there. That's not a church. That's not the gathering of the Israelites communing about the Lord. You got it.
God. It says, for it is not permitted unto them to speak, but they are commanded to be under obedience, as also saith the law.
Commanded. All right, give me first Timothy 2 start at 11.
God. This 1 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 11. Let the woman learn in silence with all subjection.
See, you keep going.
God. Verse 12, it says, but I suffer not a woman to teach.
Who?
A woman.
Mm-hmm.
But I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to usurp authority over the man.
And when you go into this word teach is going into pretty much the ministering the word out. You know what I'm saying?
God.
You're not doing that. You're not set up to do that. The women teach the other women, and children, according to the man. All right. And the damn part, you open your damn mouth. Well, that's in the scriptures. Give me let me get First John. No, not First John. St. John 12. And you can start at 34. Because it's all according to your mouth. Alright, 12 and let's see, it's about 12 and I think it's actually Matthew 12. Yeah, 12 and start at 30. Start at 36.
Gotcha. It's Matthew chapter 12, verse 36. But I say unto you that every idle word that man shall speak, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment. It says, for by thy words,
For by what?
for by thy words thou shalt be justified, and by thy words thou shalt be condemned.
Now let's get that word condemned. Let's get a Google definition. Condemned. Let's get some synonyms.
All right, con. This is condemned. It says sentenced to a particular punishment, especially death.
See? So that's what condemnation means. Alright, come on.
Officially declared unfit for use. Here goes some synonyms. Damned.
You said it's what?
Damned.
It's what?
Damned.
See that? So there you go, man. So another word for damn is condemnation. Condemnation. Damned. So your damned mouth. You see that? Your mouth damns you. That's in the scriptures. Let's go back to that real quick, bro.
It's Matthew chapter 12, verse
36.
36. The water. It says, but I say unto you that every idle word that man shall speak, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment.
Come on.
For by thy words,
By that what?
for by thy words thou shalt be justified, and by thy words,
By that what?
thy words,
No, your anything but that.
thy words,
Come on.
thou shalt be condemned.
See? So you're gonna be your words damn you. Your words come from what? Your mouth, man. See that? So you open your damn mouth. See that? Cause you trying to marginalize. You said how can peaceful protesters be domestic terrorists and threaten people's lives? You're gonna have to give account for that. You know what I'm saying? Y'all don't even go together. That don't even make sense.
Right. Faith communities.
In communities of faith, man. All right, let's get one more. Let's get 1 Corinthians 11 and 29. And then we're going to hit play on the video. Just in case y'all try to watch, you know, anything to make us look bad. Come on.
1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 29.
That's right.
For he that eateth and drinketh unworthily, eateth and drinketh damnation.
What?
Damnation.
See?
To himself.
That's in the Bible. Damnation. You know, scriptures talk about damnable heresies. You see what I'm saying? Is that it?
And it says, not discerning the Lord's body. That's it.
So there you go, man. Let me get this too. 1 Peter 2 and 1. That's your damn mouth. Alright. Come on.
Stay smart.
You good.
This is 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 1. It says, wherefore, laying aside all malice and all guile and hypocrisy.
See, guile, that's what she's coming with. You're supposed to lay that aside. The word says you're not to deal with guile. You see what I'm saying? You want to get that guile. Because guile goes into treachery or deceit. See what I'm saying? And that's very deceitful to try to introduce the margin as being America's been suffered with. You know, on every corner, peaceful protests in communities of faith. They have seen an increase in that, and then you marginalize it with a dude who shot up a Walmart. And his motive was his source of hatred. You said it was language and ethnicity. That's crazy. All right, come on.
This is guile. It says sly or cunning intelligence.
See, that's what this is. And you only able to do this because you are of your father, the devil. You got the teachings of the so-called white man. He fits the criteria of who the devil is said to be and how to be in the scriptures. The so-called white man foots the bill, man. And you will foot the bill of those that have been sold by him. All right, come on.
Back to scripture.
Was that it on the guy?
Yeah.
Okay, yep.
This 1 Peter chapter 2 verse 1. It says, wherefore, laying aside all malice and all guile and hypocrisies.
Cunning plans, sneakiness, craftiness, come on.
And hypocrisies and envies and all evil speakings.
See, evil speakings. You're talking about eradicating peaceful protesters, meaning destroy it completely, put it into. Come on.
It says, as newborn babes desire the sincere milk.
Where you at?
Verse 2.
You in? What you in?
1 Peter chapter 2.
2 Peter, Salaki. That way he ain't it. But that's by the Spirit. 2 Peter 2 and 1. I said my bad, Salaki.
All right,
come on.
It's 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 1.
Come on.
It says, but there were false prophets.
Yep.
Also among the people.
See? Come on.
It says, even as there shall be false teachers.
See?
Among you.
I suffer not a what? A woman to what? To teach. See? There's a false teacher right here. Come on.
Who privily shall bring a damnable.
Probably. Come on. Privily, probably. Come on.
Shall bring in damnable heresies.
What type of heresies?
Damnable heresies.
See? Damnable. You people damn. Your damn mouth. Your damn works. You see what I'm saying? And what is a heresy? That's something pretty much not. It's just it's something from left field, you know? That's what a heresy is. And that's what this is. How you gonna introduce your margin as this and act like you still in the same margin when you get to talking about some guy that went and shot up with some guns? Like, what is you talking about?
Attempts to equate white supremacy to anarchists, activists, and other groups who are opposed to white nationalism and other domestic terror.
So they after people that's opposed to white nationalists. That's crazy. That's crazy. Esau hurt. That's what this is. This man hurt.
Well,
Y'all still, look, you still going in slavery. It don't matter. It don't matter, man. Hold Isaiah 9:2, brother. You can drop all those scriptures. Isaiah 10 and 1. That's what
The funeral for these precious souls was a powerful statement that we would not tolerate that violence, and was taken to another level. President Barack Obama sang the song, Amazing Grace. For all of those who want to equivocate about the nature of this threat or make false comparisons, take a moment to pause and reflect on that statistic. Over the last 10 years, 75% of all murders resulting from domestic terrorism have been the result of right-wing extremists. Attempts to equate white supremacy to anarchists, activists, and other groups who are opposed to white nationalism and other domestic terror ring as hollow today as they did following the alt-right protests in Charlottesville, Virginia. No, there are not good.
She trying to talk fast. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be clear when you saying stuff like this.
That violence. It was taken to another level. President Barack Obama sang the song, Amazing Grace. For all of those who want to equivocate about the nature of this threat or make false comparisons, take a moment to pause and reflect on that statistic. Over the last 10 years, 75% of all murders resulting from domestic terrorism have been the result of right-wing extremists. Attempts to equate white supremacy to anarchists, activists, and
So
other
these are
groups
people
who
who's
are
trying
opposed to
to
white
equate
nationalism and other
white
domestic terror
supremacy with these
ring
things.
as hollow today as they did following the alt-right protests in Charlottesville, Virginia. No, there are not good people who want to pause and reflect on that statistic. Over the last 10 years, 75% of all murders resulting from domestic terrorism have been the result of right-wing extremists. Attempts to equate white supremacy to
So these are people, white-wing extremists. They are identifying to be people to identify white supremacy, or get that right.
On that statistic. Over the last 10 years, 75% of all murders resulting from domestic terrorism have been the result of right-wing extremists.
So she's going to tell us about white-wing extremists. Come on.
Attempts to equate white supremacy to anarchy.
And these are people trying to equate white supremacy to
Activists and other groups.
So pretty much y'all okaying white supremacy. We're saying that like that. You acknowledging it, and you saying that it's an issue with someone being opposed to something that really is not, that supposedly never existed.
Right.
I don't see any white supremacy. So what is she talking about then?
Over the last 10 years, 75% of all murders resulting from domestic terrorism have been the result of right-wing extremists. Attempts to equate white supremacy to
So white supremacy exists.
Like you said, in terms of trying to equate, like equalize it with what she's about to go on and say.
Right. But
No, gosh.
jumping, that's the initial thing. Catching that. She's acknowledging white supremacy. And she's saying that white wingers are trying to equate these things with something that people say don't exist. White people say don't exist. Elites will tell you don't exist. You will talk to her one-on-one and she will tell you don't exist. So what is she talking about? So you acknowledging white supremacy, Edomite supremacy, and y'all fighting for it. That's basically what you're saying. Regardless if you saying these people, because they could easily be like, no, we're saying that they acknowledge white supremacy and they are equating it with things like they believe white supremacy. No, that shit wouldn't even get mentioned, man. You trying to put it back off on the people, and this is what y'all brought this up, man. Ain't nobody tell y'all to do this.
For all of those who want to equivocate about the nature of this threat or make false comparisons, take a moment to pause and reflect on that statistic. Over the last 10 years, 75% of all murders resulting from domestic terrorism have been the result of right-wing extremists. Attempts to equate white supremacy to anarchists, activists, and other groups who are opposed to white nationalism and other domestic terror ring as hollow today as they did following the alt-right protests in Charlottesville, Virginia.
See? She didn't even say shit. She just acknowledged white supremacy exists and they fighting for it, to keep it. That's basically what she said. Because she said these people are trying to equate, listeners see it like these people possibly are just creating this notion of white supremacy and they're equating it. You see what I'm saying? But that really don't make sense. More so, you coming with a common issue. You see what I'm saying? That's out here. This whole white supremacy thing, man. And you saying y'all observing that these people that y'all identify as white wingers as being against. But they can't be against something y'all say don't exist. And you couldn't bring that to the public and your own, you know what I'm saying? This is a hearing. This is sin. Once again, this is about domestic terrorism. So she basically saying white wingers terrorizing white supremacists. That's basically what she's saying.
On that statistic, over the last 10 years, 75% of all murders resulting from domestic terrorism have been the result of right-wing extremists. Attempts to equate white supremacy to anarchists, activism,
Activists
the other group.
and others. She ain't even saying shit. She ain't even say nothing. You don't know what they comparing it to. Because you're just making up stuff.
Opposed to white nationalism and other.
Who are opposed to white nationalists. So, white wingers are against white supremacy, and they equate white supremacy to what she say. She said, what's the first two she said?
Anarchist. And then
That's what she said, anarchist. Because I couldn't even understand what she said on that part. That don't even make sense. She couldn't have said that shit. If she did, that's even stupider of her to say. Because when is white supremacy? When have they been doing anarchy? You see what I'm saying?
From domestic terrorism have been the result of right.
You can't be like, well, January 6th. You ain't seen it.
To equate white supremacy to anarchists,
Anarchists or something.
activists, and other groups.
Activists. That's what they comparing it to.
Who are opposed to white nationalism and
Who are opposed to white nationalists. So are white wingers against white nationalists? You see what I'm saying?
Right.
That makes sense. So you would, if in that case, let's say, okay, you just acknowledge white supremacy and white nationalists being out here, and you saying white wingers are people that's against these people that no one says exist. You know what I'm saying? She ain't say Ku Klux Klans.
Right.
other domestic terror ring as hollow today as they did following the alt-right protests in Charlottesville, Virginia.
So ESAU done put a case.
There are not good people on both sides. On
See?
January 6th, former
There
President
it is. They exist.
directed a group of his followers, which included an array of hate-filled extremists, to attack the Capitol and Congress at a time when we were fulfilling our sacred constitutional duty in certifying
Sacred Eve, sacred Jake, sacred. Let me get Hebrews 12 and 16 real quick. She said sacred, man. Ain't nothing sacred about that, man. So some damn sacred. Esau said to be profane. Now, who is Esau according to the Bible? And history. Because the Romans are said to be Idumeans. When you read First Maccabees. And the so-called white man say they was the Romans. And another word for Idumea is Edom. Another word for Edom, who Esau is the father of, is Idumea. Go ahead, bro.
Con, this is Hebrews chapter 12, verse 16.
So y'all the Edomites. Go ahead, so-called white people. Come on.
Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau.
What type of person?
Fornicator or profane person as
She up there defending the so-called white man. All these problems she mentioning, look, all these problems she mentioning got something to do. These are so-called white people issues.
So we ain't got nothing to do with it.
What your so-called black ass up there for, man? Because you the darkness. That's what black mean, man. Come on.
Profane. It says relating or devoted to that which is not sacred.
Which is what?
Which is not sacred.
See? The hell out of here, man.
Or biblical.
See?
Look, secular rather than religious.
Worldly. Common.
on both sides. On January 6th, former President Trump directed a group of his followers, which included an array of hate-filled extremists, to attack the Capitol and Congress at a time when we were fulfilling our sacred constitutional duty in certifying electors.
That's in the Bible.
Our citizens have repeatedly
That's profane then.
and have been horrified by the images from that day, including police officers being beaten and bloodied, beatings which caused the death and serious lasting injuries. There are no both sides in this debate. We must not be misled by efforts to divert the attention and accountability for these acts of right-wing violence and terror.
So basically, y'all set up the fucking January 6th riot. Y'all incited that to tie peaceful protesters and communities of faith with them. Because communities of faith ain't going to do it. They just going to keep reading the Bible until the Lord comes back when we want to demonize them. They're not going to actually go in and, storm the Capitol. What fucking reason would we have to do that? We don't want nothing to do with this place. We want to leave. We want the Lord to come get us. All right? Because so-called black Hebrew Israelites, we're the Hebrew Israelites, man. You calling us so-called black Hebrew Israelites, that's a community of faith. When have they marched and stormed the Capitol and shot up people and not got arrested on, you see what I'm saying? So yeah, all that happened just for y'all to come later and tie people who fall under communities of faith and peaceful protesters to them, to that? Come on, man. Some smell fishy, man.
So, for instance, says that the real problem is something called Antifa. Is irresponsible and belittles the
So
serious.
y'all set that group up then. Because all of a sudden, all these same groups, that's all so-called white people. George Soros owns that, man. The billionaire. But yet y'all using their taking up, bearing of arms and all of this to correlate that to communities of faith. To measure the communities of faith agenda and peaceful protesters. Come on, man.
Of the threat of extreme right-wing violence and misidentify who the perpetrators predominantly are in this community.
See?
As the FBI director said unequivocally, white supremacists are the most lethal threat for domestic violence in our country. Among domestic terrorists,
white supremacists are the most lethal. So y'all telling on yourselves, man. You see what I'm saying? The Lord is exposing y'all. Real quick, brother, let me get Psalm 64 and 8. Because that's what that was. See how they trying to be all over the place? First, white supremacy don't exist, but now it does. And now they're the worst people. But yet, we talking about domestic terrorists and communities which started off being highlighted as being communities of faith and peaceful protesters. How would Antifa groups, the Proud Boys, the people at January 6th storming of the Capitol, the so-called Capitol, y'all trying to get these communities of faith to do something. Exactly. And it ain't working. So now y'all just taking the groups y'all set up and to marginalize everybody. Exactly. That got something to say. You devils going into slavery.
Supremacy has no equivalent. I ask all the members of the subcommittee.
And that's right. So-called white supremacy is the most lethal, man, and the deadly. You so-called white people are the devil according to the Bible. Go ahead, bro.
64:8. This is Psalms. That was it.
No, that was it.
Psalms chapter 64, verse 8. It says, So they shall make their own tongue fall upon themselves.
See? That's it, man. So the Lord shot at y'all, man. He's setting y'all up to say all these things, man.
To join me today in denouncing domestic terrorism, including white supremacy in all forms.
Ain't nobody white.
Just take an oath or raise our hands. With this hearing today, the subcommittee comes together again.
See, if this is a hearing, this is the case. You know what I'm saying? And the case here is what? We need to get rid of all domestic terrorists, communities of faith and peaceful protesters. The guy that shot up Walmart, and his source of hate was language and ethnicity. The people that stormed the Capitol, white wingists who hate white supremacy. You know what I'm saying? Only to sum that up, all is being domestic terrorists. because of these guys, these people that y'all set up, Antifa groups. The same Antifa groups that was getting caught during the George Floyd riots, setting up bricks and handing so-called black people bricks, getting their ass cussed out by so-called black people that was catching them, doing that to their people, trying to hand our people bricks. And y'all was getting exposed. Mons Jake was cussing their ass out, like, why are you handing them bricks? Y'all know, you know what they'd do to us? This shit is fucking, you sick ass people, man. And you got your black ass up there. You probably an Edomite. Goddamn, man.
The federal government has not taken the steps necessary to address the rising specter of right-wing and white nationalist domestic terrorism. At the beginning of the last Congress, the Judiciary Committee held a hearing entitled Hate Crimes and the Rise of White Nationalism. During that hearing, we heard from a diverse panel of witnesses who described the rise of white nationalism.
Look. Y'all cracking down on domestic terrorists, right? Is the case, matter of fact, is the hearing. You know, a presentation y'all want to present on what y'all want to do and why. But and this is the case. This is the case y'all built to crack down on domestic terrorists, which consists of peaceful protesters and communities of faith. But this is the case y'all built. January 6th and Antifa. And that's all recent. The damn Proud Boys started, I believe, in 2018. So ain't no history there. Ain't enough there, man. Drug dealers get watched for like 7 years before y'all do anything, man. Let me get Revelation 12 and 12. Focus up. Then we're going to jump to the point.
God.
Go ahead.
Revelation 12, chapter 12, verse 12.
Yep.
Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and he that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the seals.
So really, we got to rejoice because we in the heavens and we know what's going on. We above you people in the spirit. Come on.
And of the seal, for the devil is come down unto you.
For the who?
For the devil.
The Lord talks about it being the devil roaming the earth. Come on.
For the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath. Because he knoweth that he hath but a short time.
There you go, man. So they going fast as hell. 2018, they use that same group to, you know, make the case against what they want to consider domestic terrorists, which is things they want to eradicate, meaning completely destroy, get rid of, man, put it into, make no more. And the case they built to do that is a group that go back to 2018.
2 years or 3 years, however many.
Shit is crazy, man.
And y'all are addressing the Ku Klux Klan.
Shit is crazy, man.
Into the current enforcement regime. What was clear then?
So my question is to you now, for those that may be watching, do so-called what we do, us the believers in this faith, the believers of the Heavenly Father, naming His Son Yahweh Shem Yahushua, you awaken Israelites out there. What does our heritage? Because this is in fact what this is. This is our heritage according to the Bible, and we're commanded to deal with it forever. Does this fall under a community of faith, of peaceful protesting, men that hit the highways and byways? Does this fall under this, man? This clearly a peaceful protest right here. We on the computer, on the internet, just talking. You know what I'm saying? We ain't talking about the authenticity. We ain't talking about the value, the use of words. We're just talking nonetheless. Period. Regardless of any of that, we're talking.
Right.
You know?
And it's clear now?
Because if so, you got an upcoming issue in your hand, you know?
Is that our current approach is not working. Enough is enough. It is time to swiftly address the rise of domestic terrorism and how Congress can help. I believe that there are well-reasoned and measured...
She said it is time. You see what I'm saying? So the devil come down on you knowing he have but a short time, man, with wrath. it's time. They gonna get all these Jakes that's out here playing games, man. You know what I'm saying? So she said it's time.
Steps that we can take, such as passing Representative Brad Snyder's Domestic Terrorism Prevention Act that would focus the federal government's resources.
And if we push in the words of the Lord, let me get Psalms 47 and 3 real quick, bro. Bubble shot. If we push in the words of the Lord, what is truly domestic terrorism? Come on.
Psalms chapter 47 verse 3. He shall subdue the people.
Jump to 2.
Psalms chapter 47 verse 2. For the Lord Most High is terrible.
One more time.
For the Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai is terrible.
See, for the Lord is terrible. You see what I'm saying? For the Lord is terrible. You know what I'm saying? Domestic terrorism. So if we push in the words of the Lord, well, it say right here, what? Read that one time. Where you at?
Psalm chapter 47 verse 2. For the Lord Most High is terrible.
See, he's terrible. Come on.
He is a great king.
He is a great king.
Over all the earth.
So he's terrible. So if he's terrible when we telling men of his acts, wouldn't that be terrorism? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Let me get 66, Psalm 66, and jump to 3, I believe. Yeah, 66 and 5. Matter of fact, you start at 3.
Psalm 66 verse 3. Say unto the Most High, how terrible art thou in thy works.
See, who's most terrible than the Lord, man? Say unto, one more time on that.
Psalm chapter 66 verse 3. Say unto the Most High.
So how about you say unto the Most High? Come on.
How terrible art thou in thy works.
Are who?
Art thou.
See? And what?
In thy works.
And whose works?
In thy works.
You see? So you call the Lord a terrorist. He brings terror, man. So this book a nightmare to you, obviously. This will be the number one thing. See that? Just somehow the Lord lines up with terrorism. Somehow. Jump to 5.
This is Psalm chapter 66 verse 5. It says, Come and see the works of the Most High. He is terrible.
Who is terrible?
He is terrible.
See? How about you come learn about the Lord? He's terrible. You know what I'm saying? So if we teaching this word, wouldn't that be terrorism? We telling you the Lord's works. Give me Psalms 145. 145 to 6.
Psalm chapter.
Start at 5.
It's a lot. This is Psalm chapter 145 verse 5.
Give me 3 first. Like
Psalm chapter 145 verse 3.
Come on.
Great is the Lord Yahweh.
Great is the Lord Yahweh. Come on.
And greatly to be praised. It says, and his greatness is unsearchable.
You can jump to 5.
Psalms 145 verse 5. I will speak of the glorious honor of thy majesty.
Of whose majesty?
Of thy majesty.
Come on.
And of thy wondrous works.
And of whose wondrous works?
Of thy wondrous works.
Go ahead.
And men
and
shall speak of the might.
Shall do what?
Shall speak of the might of thy terrible acts.
Of whose terrible acts?
Of thy terrible acts.
So really, what are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? The Lord exposing you devils, man. Come on.
It says, and I will declare.
And who?
And I will declare.
Will do what?
Will declare thy greatness.
Whose greatness?
Thy greatness.
See? So if we bringing out these words, it say the Lord, how he terrible. So we're going to be declaring his terribleness. So wouldn't that be terrorism? You know what I'm saying? So y'all ain't fucking slick, man.
Sources on the continuing threats to terrorize and kill Americans. In domestic terrorism, our country has suffered horrendous and repeated attacks on our people and our democracy. Attacks not from beyond our borders, but from within. And as well, we saw on January 6th.
Give me Proverbs 16 and 25.
Those attacks have been on those innocent law enforcement officers standing in the gap to protect the citadel of democracy.
Innocent, huh?
Wounds are deep, but our resolve is strong. We must not allow this on the continuing threat of our country. Law enforcement officers, and repeated attacks on our people and our democracy. Attacks not from beyond our borders, but from within. And as well, we saw on January 6th, those attacks have been on those innocent law enforcement officers standing in the gap to protect.
Give me Proverbs. No, hold that. Let me get Isaiah 5 and 20. Oh, sure.
5, verse 20, it says, "Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil,
See, they're not innocent, man. Come on.
that put darkness for light and light for darkness,
So the Lord said, woe unto people who do this. Come on.
that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter.
Mm-hmm.
Woe unto them that are wise in their own eyes
Mm-hmm.
and prudent in their own sight.
Mm-hmm.
Woe unto them that are mighty to drink."
That's it.
Yeah, come.
You can jump to Proverbs 11 and 21.
This Proverbs chapter 11, verse 21. It says, "Though hand join in, though hand join in hand, the wicked shall not be unpunished, but the seed of the righteous shall be delivered."
So there you go. So y'all can join hand in hand on this, coming together. Y'all, the wickedness will not go unpunished, man. The Lord is not playing with y'all.
The citadel of democracy.
And everybody gonna get it. That's in the midst of this place, man. According to the scriptures. And we're gonna keep telling you people that. Come on.
Wounds are deep, but our resolve is strong.
That's a lot. See, wounds are deep. Give me Jeremiah. And that resolve is strong. Give me Jeremiah. You can drop what you hold. Jeremiah 50. And hold that and get Obadiah 2. Obadiah Baruch. Obadiah 1. And Jeremiah 51 and 8 instead of that 50 and 8, that 50, 51 instead of 50, chapter 50.
It's Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 8. "Babylon is suddenly fallen
See?
and destroyed."
What is falling?
Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her, take balm for her pain. If so be she may be healed.
See, the Lord is being sarcastic. You see that? Read that one time.
God. Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 8. "Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her, take balm for her pain. If so be she may be healed."
Law enforcement officers standing in the gap to protect the citadel of democracy. The wounds are deep, but our resolve is strong.
See that? Go ahead.
Jeremiah chapter 51 and 8. "Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her, take balm for her pain. If so be she may be healed."
Keep going.
We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go everyone into his own country.
Keep going.
It says, "For her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted up even to the skies. The Lord hath brought forth our righteousness. Come and let us declare in Zion the work of the Lord the Most High."
Okay. Give me Nahum 3 and 19.
Jeremiah.
Yeah, you can drop it.
Okay.
Matter of fact, before you can bring that out, get Jeremiah 30 and 12. Bible shot.
Okay.
Law enforcement officers standing in the gap, protect the citadel of democracy. Wounds are deep, but our resolve is strong.
Go ahead.
This is Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 19.
12, bro.
Verse 12. So like, it says, "For thus saith the Lord Yahweh, thy bruise is incurable, and thy wound is grievous."
Ooh. One more time on that.
Con. Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 12. It says, "For thus saith the Lord, thy bruise is incurable, and thy wound is grievous." And thy wound is grievous.
Is what?
It's grievous.
No, it's not.
It's grievous. It is grievous.
That's right. Come on.
There is none to plead thy cause, that they mayest be bound up. That thou mayest be bound up.
Yep.
Then
No more. Ain't no stitches for this place. Come on.
thou hast no healing medicines.
Ain't nothing you can do to fix it. You see what I'm saying?
Deep, but our resolve is strong. We must not allow this to continue. And as we examine this very important, law enforcement officers standing in the gap, protect the citadel of democracy. Wounds are deep, but our resolve is strong.
Go ahead.
Jeremiah chapter 30 and 12. "For thus saith the Lord Yahweh, thy bruise is incurable, and thy wound is grievous. There is none to plead thy cause, that thou mayest be bound up. Thou have no healing medicines. Thou hast no healing medicines."
Come on.
Con.
Now you got something that's gonna work. Come on, man. You got it. Keep going.
"All thy lovers have forgotten thee. They seek not thee.
They seek thee not.
They seek thee not. For I have wounded thee
See,
with the
who
wound.
have wounded thee?
For I have wounded thee with the wound of an enemy."
See? So the Lord has wounded you, man. Yeah, so the wound is deep, man. And you can't do nothing about it. Come on.
"With the chastisement of a cruel one, for the multitude of thine iniquity, because thy sins were increased."
Yeah, so this going into Jake. But she Jake, you know? So that's spiritual. Alright? Now get the name Bible shot. 3 and 19.
This is Nahum chapter 3, verse 19. It says, "There is no healing of thy bruise. Thy wound is grievous. All that hear the bruit," is that bruit? "All that hear the bruit of thee shall clap the hands over thee. For upon whom hath not thy wickedness passed continually?"
See? Everybody want to see this place go down, man. You sitting up here rooting for this place trying to... So it's, let me get, it's one in Obadiah. But it's all good.
We must not allow this to continue.
See?
And
Oh, that's what I want. Let me get, Obadiah 1 and 3. Matter of fact, that ain't Obadiah, that's Micah. It's Micah 3. In fact, that's Micah. No, that ain't Micah, that's Malachi. Yeah, that's Malachi 1 and 4. You start at 3.
Is that one in?
Yep.
Con, this is Malachi chapter 1, verse 3. "And I hated Esau, and laid his mountains and his heritage waste.
Come on.
For the dragons of the wilderness," it says, "whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places."
deep, but our resolve is strong. We must not allow this to continue.
Go ahead, one time.
Con. Malachi chapter 1 verse 4.
Mhm.
It says, whereas Edom saith,
Mhm.
we are impoverished,
Mhm.
but we will return and build the desolate places.
See, we ain't impoverished, but we will return and build it. See, you think you know, there's always a bounce back for you. That pride, come on.
It says, thus saith the Lord of hosts,
Mhm.
they should build,
They shall build, come on.
but I will throw down.
Who will throw down?
I will throw down.
Come on,
And they shall call them the border of wickedness,
come on.
and the people against whom the Lord hath indignation forever.
The Lord who? The Lord Yahweh. See? There you go, man.
And
So that's
as
a whole
we
nother
examine
segment, but we ain't gonna go into
this
it.
very important time in our history, we must recognize the importance, the very importance of the work that we have to do. The nature of the domestic terrorist threats against our country must be examined, and let us do so today. As we proceed today, I'd like to offer the words of Abraham Lincoln. The world will little note, nor longer remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. The brave men and living and dead have consecrated it far beyond our poor power.
You know you a slave. Like these niggas it's so apparent. It's too late in the game for no one to see that these people ain't supposed to be doing what they doing. These so-called black people, they have no business. How you up there quoting Abraham Lincoln? Like you done made it, you helped build America. Like what is you doing?
Or to add or detract. It is for us, the living, rather to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus so nobly advanced. In this committee, I hope that we will finish this noble work and that we will not succumb to this kind of violence in America ever again. I yield
So you
back at this time.
see?
It's now my pleasure to recognize the ranking member of the subcommittee, the gentleman from Arizona, Mr. Biggs, for his opening.
Mr. Biggs.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's a pleasure for me to
Mr.
serve
Biggs.
on this.
Oh, Mr. Biggs. They got tweets up here, man. They case is tweets. This is a hearing of people of judges and rulers. Their cases is tweets. But what we talk about is hoopla. You know what I'm saying?
It's a dog up there.
But our that's the niggas AVIs. That's a screenshot of tweets.
Man.
You know how I show the retweets of the people that retweeted?
God.
But what we do is hoopla. They really mad. So what y'all doing? What's this? This the case y'all hold. This is of importance in the, you know what I'm saying, with the chairs and a ranking member with a mask on. Come on, man. They got screenshots, a part of their case at the hearing from people with dogs as their ABIs. Come on, man.
Homeland Security, and as it is, this is the first hearing.
So this should show you they just validated how we present information. You know what I'm saying? They co-signed, I'll say. They ain't validated nothing. But anyway, we bring out Isaiah 66 and 4, bro. She up there talking about some weed and all this other crap. She bugged out, man. You got it.
Come.
Mm-hmm.
It's Isaiah chapter 66, verse 4.
Come on.
I also will choose their delusions
Mm.
and will bring their fears upon them.
See?
Because when I called,
Mm-hmm.
none did answer.
So there she go. She delusion. The Lord has, she's on a delusion.
Through 2019, Portland and the surrounding areas suffered dozens of violent protests,
With no fees or minimums on checking and savings accounts, banking with Capital One is like the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Kind of like,
I think I'll go with cardigan.
that's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Mass street brawls and riots that resulted in serious bodily injuries, arson attacks, and property destruction. By 2020, Antifa exploited the anger around the death of George Floyd and others to launch an unprecedented attempted insurrection in Portland. For more than 120 recurring days, Antifa carried out nightly riots targeting federal, county, and private property. They developed a riot apparatus that included streams of funding for accommodation, travel, riot gear, and weapons. This resulted in a murder, hundreds of arson attacks.
This the committee on the judicial people in recess coming back with some crap, but we finna get to the point. Let me fix this. Let's see the time. 44 minutes would be what?
See the brother, you posted the definition for terrorism.
Go ahead.
This is terrorism from the brother of War of Israel.
Oh, good.
It says the calculated use of violence to create a general climate of fear in a population and thereby to bring about a particular political objective.
Close, so would all witnesses please come back to the table and turn their cameras on.
You got it.
Terrorism, the calculated use of violence to create a general climate of fear in a population and thereby to bring about a particular political objective.
I appreciate Mr. Nosman.
You said what, bro?
Terrorism, the calculated use of violence to create a general climate of fear.
Yeah, they calculated. So terrorism. It's interesting because it says it's calculated, it's set up. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
True terrorism is set up. You know. Go ahead.
We need consistency.
It says to create a general climate of fear in a population and thereby to bring about a particular political objective.
Yeah, it's all political. All this is political, man. You can't call yourself a Jew for political reasons. You know what I'm saying? You can't call yourself an Israelite for political reasons. You can't hit the highways and byways for political reasons. You can't talk about the Bible in school for political reasons. Everything political, man. And, you know, politics as usual. You know, that's sellouts, no. Alright, anyway.
We need to condemn all violence.
There it is.
Republicans condemn the violence that took place on the 6th. We condemn the violence that took place for 120 straight days in Portland when Antifa was laying siege to the federal building. While that was happening, we had our colleagues talk about they needed more unrest in the streets. At the very time unrest was happening in the streets, we had our colleagues say that the organization that tried to end your life, and that for 120 days had violence happening every single day in Portland, that organization was a myth. Look, this is so important. I appreciate Mr. No's willingness to talk about the consistency that is needed from everyone, from both sides of the aisle, to address this problem and get violence out of our political process. Madam Chair, with that, I would yield back.
Mr. Chair.
Oh no, excuse me, I got to yield to. I wanted to save time. Ranking member, I yield to the ranking member.
Thank you. Madam Chair, without objection, I would like to introduce into the record an article from August 29, 2008. It's a report from the Southern Poverty Law Center about the Black Hebrew Israelites entitled Racist Black Hebrew Israelites Becoming More Militant, and also a 2019 SPLC article describing the New Jersey attack on the militancy of the Black Hebrew Israelites.
Without objection, so ordered. I'm gonna introduce into the record without objection, Daily Beast article, Capitol Police Officer, Trumpist riders called me the N-word dozens of times, and exhibit number B, physically showing the visible surrounding of an officer on January 6th who is down, and a noose, exhibit C, placed by the domestic terrorists on January 6th. We have the ability now to recess very briefly for the last two votes, and so I'm going to recess the committee and ask members for their patience to come back. And to the witnesses, if you would continue to be available for us, we will conclude our hearing once we complete quickly these two votes. Thank you very much. The committee will stand in recess.
Session I would like to introduce into the record. An article from August 29, 2008. It's a report from the Southern Poverty Law Center about the Black Hebrew Israelites entitled
2008.
Racist Black Hebrew Israelites Becoming More Militant.
So they watching us, man. They 100% watching us. This is somebody, these people you need to keep your eye on. They're Black Hebrew Israelites. How can you be a Black Hebrew Israelite? To be a Hebrew Israelite is a nationality, that's a race. But for political reasons, y'all have to use this thing known as a buzzword, which we gonna get. So I did a watch on this not too long ago, and I'm not gonna go back into it or explain it. I'm gonna just go to the watch, and we're gonna hit play, and go and listen to it. And you can look it up for yourself on you know what a buzzword is. All right. Anyway, Salaki. Now it says, let me go ahead and notice Black woman. You know what I'm saying? Get that. That's a buzzword. That's not actually. You gonna hear? Cause I got a couple points on to prove. So when you look up that word buzzword, it say a buzzword is a word or phrase new or already existent that becomes very popular for a period of time. Okay, so it says buzzwords often. And that's true because we weren't always called Black. We weren't always called Negro, niggas, coon, whatever the hell they spooks. You know what I'm saying? The name always got updated. So a buzzword is something that gets up, is a name that stays around for a certain amount of time. Them changing our name is a click over time, over and over. Whatever they call us, changing over time is a clear indication, it's proof, it's in fact that those titles are just buzzwords. That was never who you actually were. And derived from technical terms, yet often, so it's you technically not Black. You see what I'm saying? We're calling you Black due to technicalities. We can't, and or phrase new or already existent. Let me go ahead and get that. Cause I got a couple points on to prove. So when you look up that word buzzword, it say a buzzword is a word or phrase new or already existent that becomes very popular for a period of time. Okay, so it says buzzwords often derive from technical terms, yet often, so it's you technically not Black. You see what I'm saying? We're calling you Black due to technicalities. We can't, and that's your identity being hid from you and you know, being put in a situation where you were to discontinue from your heritage. So the so-called white man helped do that by putting the term Black on you, Latino on you. You see what I'm saying? Because these words are the very words you need in these times to decipher through the truth, to weave through the truth that's coming out. You see? So you're gonna see this term Black You see what I'm saying? You're gonna see this term black. You're gonna see this term, this buzzword. You're gonna see this buzzword black. You're gonna see this buzzword Latino. It says a buzzword is a phrase, is a word or a phrase. You see? So new or already existing. That becomes very popular for a period of time. So it's not really solid. You see what I'm saying? So the term, the word black or the phrase black woman, black man, black people, Latino people, brown people, all those are buzzwords, right? Because that's a phrase, but it's just for a period of time. You see that? So you can't make this up. It says buzzword because that is actually going to come off of you. And you're going to see through that. It says buzzwords often derive from technical terms, yet often have much of the original meaning removed through fashionable use, being simply used to impress others. And when you go into that word impress, it says to make an impression on. It says imprint. Look, influence. These are synonyms. You see? Overpower, overwhelm, to take someone's breath away. You see? Astonish. That's what the Lord said he's going to do. So these are 100% fake names. These are not things to identify us. These are things to influence and astonish, as the Lord says. You see what I'm saying? It says stick in someone's mind. Look, imprint, stamp, mark. You see that? So you having these phrases put on you, you are actually marked. And a mark is we're going to get that. It's pretty much a signal for something. You see? That these people are, exclusive people. You see? It says emphasize, to stress, bring home to establish in someone's mind, to fix deeply in someone's mind, instill, inculcate, and drum into, knock, ingrain, leaving no doubt. You see that? So it's all a sham, man. But these are not. These are not my points, but this is something you very need to understand the rest of this lesson. This is something you need to understand. You see, a buzz phrase, a phrase drawn from an imitative or technical jargon and often rendered meaningless and fashionable through abuse. You see that? By non-technical persons in a seeming show of familiarity with the subject. Our buzzword is good. It says, but much like other forms of slang, you see, so it's slang for who you really are. It's not, you see, because when we talk in slang, that's not actually how you talk. You see what I'm saying? It's just, this is how we feel like talking. You see, we're calling you. We don't really want to call you by your name. It says, much like other slang, forms of slang, business buzzwords are important. They can simplify complex concepts into a word. You see, these are the Israelites who fell away because, and it makes so much sense that this would be our situation, because if they were calling us the Israelites, everybody got the Bible and they reading while we not, you see what I'm saying? That's not actually how you talk. You see what I'm saying? It's just, this is how we feel like talking. You see, we're calling you. We don't really want to call you by your name. It says, much like other slang, forms of slang, business buzzwords are important. They can simplify complex concepts into a word. You see, these are the Israelites who fell away because, and it makes so much sense that this would be our situation, because if they were calling us the Israelites, everybody got the Bible and they reading while we not, you see what I'm saying? Which goes hand in hand on how everybody can't understand. So why would you even have cause more confusion? Slang, forms of slang, business buzzwords are important. They can simplify complex concepts into a word. You see, these are the Israelites who fell away because, and it makes so much sense that this would be our situation, because if they were calling us the Israelites, everybody got the Bible and they reading while we not, you see what I'm saying? Which goes hand in hand on how everybody can't understand. So why would you even have cause more confusion by having the Israelites knowingly in your face, but yet they're not on top, and you already don't understand the Bible. You see what I'm saying? Because if they try to go on and pretty much tell you what happened, that you got to tell everything, and most people can't get that, and that just wouldn't make sense. Well, they're really the Israelites, but we had to, pretty much put them in slavery for disobeying the Father's commandments. And, we're not actually Jews ourselves, but they are. And we are actually the devil. So it'll make you, like, you feel like you're in the goddamn Twilight Zone. So the Lord, everything he does makes sense. So we have to have these names upon us for the world to come into sense. But that's a whole other thing. But my whole point is, it's slang. These are not our real names, man. You see? So it's literally, these names continuously coming up at the end of these last times is showing you, it's a clear indicator that somebody exclusive is being targeted. Someone very familiar or important, and that's the Israelites, man. Black, Latino, anytime you see it. African American, because they like to switch it up. You see? They say they are important because they can simplify complex concepts, which is what I just explained, into a word or phrase that is easy to understand. You see what I'm saying? So that instead of just explaining how the Israelites went into captivity, they broke the Lord's commandments, they would take on bywords. But these are Israelites, though. You still call them Israelites. They're like, nah, just call them black. This is somebody who has failed. Latinos, these are people. They're people. And they clearly gonna show you that they somebody special, and we're gonna clearly show you them being special because they have a slang, a buzzword put on them, man, as an identification. It's crazy. It says that it's easy to understand. Buzzwords are used frequently. You be like, oh, this the guy who fell. This is who's the piece of shit right now. You see that? Without any explanation, properly. It says buzzwords are used frequently in office environments and can be a key part of the corporate culture, because this is all going into status and politics. You see? So that's pretty much it. So you should understand that. Yep, it says buzzwords when speaking of public speakers or politicians. We often accuse them of using there's no literary terms, right? Buzzwords. The definition is in examples. It says literary terms. It says, I'm gonna pull this up so you can look it up. You can go to literaryterms.net. It says, what is a buzzword? Right? When speaking of public speakers or politicians, we often accuse them. Remember, who's the them? The public speakers, your damn news reporters, your media, your presidents, your mayors, your council leaders, your chief of departments. You see what I'm saying? Fire department, police department. What is a buzzword? When speaking of public speakers or politicians, you see what I'm saying? The Obamas, congressmen. It says we often accuse them of using buzzwords rather than digging deeper into an issue. So when they address the so-called the Israelites who are buzzword as the so-called blacks, as blacks, because they don't want to dig into a deeper issue. So when somebody gets shot in the hood, and the chief of the police, he's standing in front of the caution tape and telling them, well, black was killed. You see what I'm saying? That's them not digging deeper. That's them using that. You see what I'm saying? That's a public speaker using a buzzword to not have to dig deeper into, and that's all been set up by the elites on down. And it's just been a protocol ever since. Because every time that buzzword come up, you're going to be like, oh, those are just the black people. Instead of, if you was calling them Israelites, you'd be like, damn, the Bible real. You see what I'm saying? Damn, these people really the devil. They really doing this. You see what I'm saying? Nah, that don't even go with the story. That's why we had to be called by word.